Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be taking a closer look at the Leatherman Garage Batch 3 parts. So this Leatherman Garage release is basically a pocket knife that was made out of found resources from Leatherman's factory in Portland, Oregon. And this knife was made to be used, and the interchangeable blades allows it to be used for multiple occasions. This release comes in a Leatherman Garage cardboard box. It's just standard brown cardboard. You have the knife itself and its accessories. You have two papers with information about the release as well as how to exchange the blades utilizing the tools, which I'll get into later. You have the knife itself pre-installed with the drop point S30V blade. You have the sheepsfoot / Warncliffe shaped blade with 154 cm steel. You have the bit driver with a T6 and T8 bit, as well as a teal paracord. Before we dive deeper into parts, let's do a quick size comparison. Here it is up against the Leatherman Free P2. It's my favorite go-to EDC Leatherman tool. Here it is up against the Benchmade Bug Out, one of my favorite EDC knives. Here it is up against the Benchmade Mini Bug Out, another one of my favorite EDCs. And lastly, here it is up against the large Chris Reeve Sebenza 31. As you can see, it is in a reasonable size. In my opinion, it is that perfect EDC size. It's pretty much on par with the Bug Out, excluding sharpened blade length, which I'll get a little into later. The handle is pretty much the same size. In terms of thickness, it is a bit thicker than the Bug Out, but then again, the Bug Out was made to be ultra lightweight. Here it is up against the Free P2 in terms of thickness. Of course, since it's a traditional pocket knife, it is a lot thinner than it. And I guess the thicker of my favorite EDCs would be the Sebenza. It's almost as thick as the Sebenza. And lastly, here it is up against a ruler. The handle is slightly shorter than 4.5 inches, and then the total length is a little under 8 inches. And then here are the sharpened blade lengths up against a ruler. The drop point S30V blade is barely 2 3/4 of an inch, and then the 154 cm sheepsfoot / Warncliffe blade is also that same size. It's like 2 3/4 of an inch. So both blades have the same sharpened blade length, but of course they're both different blade styles and blade materials. In terms of the knife itself, it consists of ivory G10 scales, and it consists of lunar stainless steel, I guess you could call them liners and backspacers, as well as the mechanism that holds the actual blade. You got some baby blue accents in the lock and the thumb stud. The lock and thumb studs are ambidextrous, which is great. You get the same deep carry pocket clip that is found on the Free series, which I think is great. I love a deep carry pocket clip. You also get a lanyard hole in the back. And I'm not too sure the official term for this lock. Leatherman doesn't really describe it on their website or in the papers utilized in the release, but it's kind of like a sideways access lock / crossbar lock, whatever you want to call it. You can flick it open like an access lock, like that, one-handedly. Maybe mine just needs to be broken open, but you can flick it open and close. I guess closing it is a bit harder. You can't really thumb flick open the blade, but you can definitely open it one-handed with the thumb stud slowly. If you want to quickly open and close it, I recommend trying to close it with the lock by doing that. See, you just need to do it a little hard. There you go. Again, I'm not too sure the inner workings of this. I can't seem to find a spring utilized in it. Maybe it's just hidden away somewhere, but that is the main mechanism utilized in the access lock / crossbar lock. And I think my knife just needs to be broken in a bit. So hopefully as I utilize it more, I can easily flick it open and closed. So now let's get into what makes this knife special and why it was made, and that is the exchangeable blade feature. Obviously, knives with exchangeable blades isn't necessarily the newest idea in the world. Of course, regular box cutters and utility blades have that option. And I think Cold Steel has a folding knife / fixed blade that has a blade exchanger feature that features multiple blade styles. I'll flash up the title of that knife once I find it. But what's interesting about this knife is that it looks like a regular full-size pocket knife with premium materials. but it has an exchangeable blade in various blade shapes and blade steels. I think this is a really cool idea. I think this is a concept that hasn't been entirely explored other than traditional box cutters and that cold steel knife I was talking about. In regular full-sized premium EDC knife, before you even buy the knife, you have to choose what blade shape and or what blade material you want, if they even have multiple options. I know the popular Spyderco models usually come in various blade shapes and materials, but I can't really say that about any other knives. So Leatherman calls the Drop Point S30V blade the EDC blade. It's basically the most versatile blade shape and steel, whereas the 154cm sheep's foot blade is the work/utility blade, and I definitely agree it is better for utility, maybe breaking down boxes, cutting open packages, and then the Drop Point is more versatile for various tasks, whether that be like food prep, maybe outdoor camp work, or even as a regular pocket knife in the shop. It's definitely more versatile. In terms of how both steels stack up against each other, I guess the short version would be that technically S30V is the better steel. It does have better edge retention. It isn't necessarily as tough as 154cm, but if you're just using it as a regular EDC steel, you shouldn't really have to worry about that, and it is more corrosion resistant. But in the end, both S30V and 154cm are great steels for EDC and utility work. So in terms of swapping out the blade, Leatherman includes a bit driver on its own with a T6 and T8 bit. You really only need to utilize the T6 bit when exchanging the blade, although the rest of the knife does utilize both T6 and T8 screws. And to exchange the blade itself has one very small screw near the back. Leatherman says to unscrew it just to loosen it, but don't remove it, and then you also have to take off the thumb stud in order to replace the blade, and you can do all that with this included bit driver. So first, as Leatherman said, just loosen this small screw, don't remove it. Right now it is loosened, and now I'm going to remove the thumb stud. The thumb stud does spin a bit, so you will have to press your finger up against the back side of the thumb stud, but it just requires a small bit of force, and then I'm able to remove the thumb stud. Of course, I recommend getting a mat like this. This is like a gun disassembly mat I found on Amazon for relatively cheap, so you can keep all of your tools and parts organized and prevent them from going away. So that is the thumb stud removed, and now if you loosened the small screw enough, you should be able to just remove the blade like that. And now to install the 154cm blade, you just push it into place, line up the grooves and ridges. Might take a little bit of force. I will say inserting and removing the blade like with your hand isn't as easy as I expected. I was kind of hoping there was only one screw I needed to do and the grooves weren't as complex as this. I'll probably speed up the video if it takes me a while. There we go. Yeah, I think I just needed to unscrew the bottom screw a bit. I thought I loosened it enough, but now it is loosened. Now I'm going to tighten it. And I guess technically you could just remove this small screw and just have it in with the thumb stud, but I wouldn't really run the risk of that happening. And so now you take the screw side with the actual screw you can unscrew, put it through the hole, then take the other part of the thumb stud, put it back on the other side. Again, pressing up against the backside of the thumb stud to hold it tight. Screw in the thumb stud until it's nice and tight. Again, it's going to spin a bit, but as long as you have some force, it'll be tight. And there, you exchange the blade. Now you have that work/utility blade in the sheep's foot 154cm blade, and it still opens and closes like normal. And yeah, that is the process of exchanging the blades. The one thing that I thought was missing from this release would have been a sheath that would be able to hold all three of these items right here. The actual knife, the blade you're not currently using, as well as the bit driver. I feel like a sheath that carries all three of these components would have been great for this release. So if you're out in the field, you're wearing the sheath on your belt, or maybe throw the sheath into your pocket, you just use your work knife, and then like you're done with work or whatever, or you just want to switch out the blade, you have the bit driver and other blade handy, and you can easily swap it out in the field. Whereas with no sheath, like you have the open blade, you can't really carry that with you unless you like tape up the edge or carry it in your own sheath. And then you also don't have the bit driver handy on you unless it's part of your regular EDC Leatherman, or again, you carry it in your own custom sheath. I feel like a sheath that would be able to carry this entire thing in one complete package would have been perfect for this release. And then one last thing I forgot to talk about was just this piece of teal blue paracord. I mean, it's nothing special. I guess you could kind of try to weave it into the lanyard hole and make a lanyard, but in most of the pictures from Leatherman, it was utilized with the bit driver, so that you can make a lanyard, make it more visible, and you can add more grip. Here, if I can weave it through. There you go, weaved it through. I'll just do like a very basic knot for it. But yeah, the paracord, I mean, it's nothing special. It's a nice addition to have. Make the bit driver a bit more visible, and when you use it, you have some more grip with the paracord. It's nice. That is the garage release batch number 3 parts. I think it's a very interesting concept. I'm wondering what Leatherman is gonna do with this idea. Like, the found parts thing was definitely a cool idea, but I personally am more interested in seeing Leatherman implement this blade exchanging idea on regular multi-tools. Like, wouldn't it be cool if the Free had other options of blades, like maybe swap out this blade for like a Tonto blade, or again, a sheep's foot blade, and of course, better yet, you can get more premium steels. I mean, 420HC, it's a solid EDC steel, but if there are more premium steel options, I'd definitely be interested. Like, if there was this blade but S30V, and I could buy the S30V from Leatherman and just exchange it, that would be really cool. A lot of people, including myself, I guess the biggest thing we want from Leatherman would be customizable multi-tools, and I feel like this blade exchanger idea is a step in that direction. It would be really cool if either you could buy a multi-tool and then buy different blades from Leatherman after you buy it, or from the beginning, before you buy the Leatherman tool, you could choose what type of blade you want, and then the Leatherman factory will swap out the blade for you and then ship it to you. I feel like that could be a cool idea and a step into customizable multi-tools with tools and knives that you want specifically. So to end off the video, I definitely like this garage release a lot better than the previous Dark Side release. I feel like that was a wasted opportunity. It should have either been already in production or just been a special cosmetic version. I feel like this release better encapsulates the garage as a whole by challenging the engineers with the found objects and implementing a new blade exchanger idea that could be used in future Leatherman production models. I feel like Batch 1, Mr. Crunch, and Batch 3 are both really cool ideas that I hope can make it into future Leatherman productions. So what do you guys think of Batch 3? Are you guys interested in multi-tools with exchangeable blades, or being able to select which type of blade steel and or shape before you buy them? I'd definitely like to know down in the comments. So that's gonna do it for this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, follow me on my socials, and thanks for watching.